Los Angeles, California. Today it has a population of close to 4 million people, the second largest city in the United States. And if you add the greater Los Angeles area, the greater metropolitan area, and add the San Fernando Valley, and who wouldn't, that number goes up to 18 million. Los Angeles is so big, you could fit San Francisco, Boston, Minneapolis, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, St. Louis, and Manhattan within its city limits. The story you're about to see is true. The names have not been changed to protect the innocent. All you'll be getting are the facts. Just the facts.
This is the city, Los Angeles, wacky, weird, and wild. Sometimes free, sometimes it's a spoiled and entitled child. And LA's unique, and sometimes it's chic, and sometimes a freak show too. This is the city, so check out the view. This is the city, Los Angeles, spread out diverse and wide. Sometimes it's free, sometimes it's a crazy and scary ride. A city that thinks, a city that winks, a city with thinks that's us. This is the city, no us and no fun. No us, no fun, except that they're tear down buildings, they build new buildings, tear down more buildings, sad but true. We had the red cars, they killed the red cars, we got the red line, deja vu. What else is new? LA's a contradiction, ignores its history, forgets its past. LA's a glorious beast with that taste of music that somehow lasts. LA now and then. The city where everything goes, suddenly new again. City, Los Angeles, it's got a lot to share. Sometimes it's sweet, sometimes it's a pain in the you-know-where. They tell you it's nuts, no ifs and or buts, you never know what's in store. This is the city that you can't ignore.
Sometimes you are dazzling, sometimes you just sparkle, sometimes you just scream. LA, sometimes you're confusing, sometimes an enigma, sometimes just a dream.
LA, there's nothing like you. Sometimes you're easy, sometimes you're tough man, sometimes you're cheesy. But there's crazy as things to get. We simply can't get enough. This is the city, Los Angeles, somehow can rise. Come on, Tiki, we sit on the freeway for half our lives. The city that's strange, the city of dreams, the city where angels play. This is the city we call our own. This is the city, it's all our own. This is the city. Welcome to LA.
LA family having dinner in 1956. Then.
Oh, what a day I had today!
I know, the line at the supermarket was so long.
I got an A in my history test.
I made the cheerleading squad.
A typical LA family having dinner in 2022. Now.
I'm just a boy from a mile away, that pure and simple state. But out here in California, there's one thing that I hate. Grab a LA, well they got me all confused. When they get the screen things, LA people do. Deep Corona, I'm saying, woo! LA city's having understood and overheard. There's Anna to Pelican, Thomas and the Haruna. None of them are like to come tripping up the top. We don't know Hermosa, they just live in Florida. But once somebody tells me, what's up the timer?
Hey, oh, hey,
Say hello to my backup singers, Brandon and Glendora. Now, Flower, both rock, my brain is still in loser. I tried to drive myself to it again out of Azusa. Alhambra, Artista, I didn't get too far. And then he passed the moment and I chopped it down the bar.
hey, oh, hey.
Hidden hills and underground in Sunless and Valley. What's that good as new coal, snow, Shelly, Cali? You could keep your roast beef, focus on my knives. Whittier and Wilmington, I have to rub my knives. Welcome to Leatherman, so many things to learn. Malibu and Montebello, London and Wilmington, Pearl Blossom, Hogan, Wall Street, Cedar. I am getting this with cities trying to pass Lancaster, Englewood, and other Calabasas.
I mean, really, Calabasas?
Straight out of LA, no way, these things are too intense. I'm heading back to Iowa where this makes sense. Hello, Keokuk.
To LA and I'm excited. I'm in music, it's the place I need to be. Wait and see. I'm tired of playing those New York shows. They're great, but in
and the schmear are great.
But in Chinatown?
What's so good about the good old days? There's nothing in the past we should be contemplating. What's so good about the good old days? Things are so much better today. Remember dining out when the food was so terrific? Steak and fries, sure to put on some weight. Nowadays, everybody's eating healthy.
There's not enough to fill your plate.
I'm so hungry.
And what is kale exactly?
Oh, what's so good about the good old days? There's nothing in the past we should be celebrating. What's so good about the good old days? Things are so much better today. Remember when you're home, holding forth on a Zoom call, filling the air with your rambles and rants.
You're not on your phone, so if you leave the room,
Be certain that you're wearing pants.
Oh, thank God.
Remember all those nights we were
Dancing at the disco,
I looked hot, wearing bell-bottom jeans.
spangled shirts and my hair out in an afro. No one knows today what fashion means.
You wore an afro?
Yeah. Oh, what's so good about the good old days? I know we seem to be in a rut. So what's so good about the good old days? Everything. That's why.
Back in 1906, Clarence Clifton Brown set up shop in downtown LA. Then in 1929, he and his son moved the shop to Hollywood Boulevard, just a block west of the new Brourman's Chinese Theater. And there the shop stayed until it finally closed in 1996. The day Hollywood lost a little piece of its heart and soul. C.C. Brown, where we go for a hot fudge sundae, always made for a perfect ending, at the end of a perfect evening, and the world would be so much sweeter, and we thought you would always be there, at the end of those perfect evenings. C.C. Brown, C.C. Brown, just a scoop of vanilla ice cream with some whipped cream and toasted almonds, and a little ceramic pitcher filled with hot fudge that you would pour on. It was simple and pure and perfect. It was art in a silver cup at C.C. Brown. Why can't things we love just last forever? How can things we love just up and disappear in an instant? Part of history gone, that
phenomenon known as the beatnik. Here is a beatnik. These days, LA is home to a new phenomenon known as the hipster. Here is a hipster.
Skip Tom Hatton and Popeye, we never missed a show. Romper Room with Miss Mary Ann, and it was simpler then, and kids were kids. Could it ever be that way again? There ain't no memories, that's where they live. So many years have passed. These days it's different, everything's changed, everything moves too fast. And it seems like kids don't get to be kids very long. Seems like childhood's not designed to last. Weekday heroes, growing up with them throughout the years, couldn't wait till moment when they'd appear. Weekday heroes, when you watch, you see a friendly face, and the world seems a safer place, and we moved at a slower pace. Weekday heroes, weekday heroes, weekday heroes. And I wish they still were here.
Is colorful and lays diverse. Just one big melting pot, a blessing, not a curse. Every color, creed, and race makes LA the best of place. Anywhere you go, you see it's true. LA is big people stew. LA is a crazy quilt. LA is the zoo. LA's got coaching class, ain't nothing you can do. Every type, every food, got our share of attitude. Anywhere you go, you see it's true. It's a great big people too. Be a town, my town, good people town. You got the barrio. Forget Drake, it's Chinatown. It's crazy all around. Anywhere you go, you see it's true. Great big people stew. Little Ethiopia, little Tokyo too. Got some we don't know what to do. Every color we embrace. Sure we get up in your face. Anywhere you go, you see it's true. It's a great big people stew. Town, my town, good town. You got the barrio. Yeah, it's Chinatown. It's crazy all around. Anywhere you go, great people LA's colorful, LA's diverse.
once was a building, a beautiful building, a building that embodied everything this city was about, its hopes, its dreams, its future. This beautiful building was designed by LA architects Brourman and Beckett, and it was the most astonishing example of streamlined modern architecture in history. It captured the hearts, the minds, and the pride of Los Angeles. And this building and its demise still haunts my dreams. The year was 1935, and to the sound of Boy Scout bugles, this amazing building opened its doors to the public. Located on Beverly Boulevard, this magnificent building with its classic facade was like nothing Los Angeles had ever seen before. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Pan Pacific Auditorium. For the next 35 years, the Pan Pacific was the premier location for all indoor public events. It hosted car shows and home shows, the Ice-Capades, the Harlem Globetrotters. In 1952, General Dwight D. Eisenhower spoke to an overflowing crowd of 10,000 people 1 month before he was elected President of the United States. And 5 years later, in 1957, Elvis Presley played here before he was drafted into the Army. And it continued to be the premier location until 1971, when the brand new and much larger LA Convention Center opened its doors. And 1 year later, the Pan Pacific closed. And there it sat, empty and abandoned. Now, there was talk of refurbishing it, maybe turning it into an ice rink or a cultural center. The LA County Museum of Art was even thinking about maybe using the space. There were lots of ideas, but ideas were cheap. The land was owned by E.L. Cord of Cord Automobiles, and he did nothing with it. And then when he passed away in 1974, his estate was tied up in probate, and so the Pan Pacific sat there, empty and abandoned, as if it had never existed. In 1978, the LA Conservancy managed to place the Pan Pacific onto the National Registry of Historic Places, and interest began again in restoring the Pan Pacific. But at that time, it would have cost over $6 million to bring the building up to code. And so it sat there. Now, we're a film town, so sometimes it was used for location shooting. Funny Lady filmed there, and Xanadu, and hopes were pinned very high on the success of Xanadu that would bring attention again back to the Pan Pacific, to restoring it to its former glory. But Xanadu was a flop, and so the interest waned. And there the Pan Pacific sat, empty now except for transients and vandals. In 1983, a fire destroyed the north end of the building, and on May 24th, 1989, 54 years after the Pan Pacific had opened its doors, it suffered its final humiliation. A fire destroyed the building and burned it to the ground. Now, today, it's a park and a recreation center, and that's good for the neighborhood. In fact, the entrance to the rec center is an homage to the Pan Pacific, and that's nice too. And in 2011, Disney opened its new gates to California Adventure Park. Look familiar? I guess it's easy to go, wow, look at that. Wasn't that amazing and beautiful? But that doesn't bring the Pan Pacific back. What is it about LA that we don't appreciate and honor our iconic buildings and their history before it's too late? Wouldn't it be nice to go to Kittyland on Beverly Boulevard? Or to dine at the Big Hat, the Brown Derby on Wilshire? Or spend a day at Pacific Ocean Park? All gone, all abandoned, all forgotten. But as for me, always in my mind, in my dreams, and in my heart.
The art of the Hollywood deal. It hasn't always been the same. In the days of old, only one person ran the studio. They had no one else to answer to. Today's studios are run by corporations and committees. It's a different deal entirely. Well, let's look at Billy Wilder's classic film, Double Indemnity. Here's how the deal may have looked back when the film was made. Then.
Hey, boss! Billy Wilder would like to adapt the James Cain story, Double Indemnity.
Oh, hey! If Billy likes that idea, who am I to argue? He's made us a lot of dough. Good track record.
And he would like Raymond Chandler to be his co-author.
Oh, hey, Billy likes Chandler? Give him Chandler. Chandler's not chopped liver. Just don't have any booze in the office.
And he would like Fred McMurray to be his leading man.
Well, hey, if Billy thinks McMurray can pull this off, who am I to argue? McMurray's a lightweight, but maybe Billy sees something there. Tell him we'll start pre-production as soon as the script is done. Go Pacific, boss!
Now, how would that scene play out in today's Hollywood? Now.
Nice to see you both. What have you got for us?
Okay, get this. A reboot of Double Indemnity.
What's Double Indemnity? Is that one of those graphic novels? Comic book?
No, it's a Billy Wilder movie from the 40s. A classic.
The 40s? No one likes the 40s. Can it be today?
Yes, of course. Double Indemnity in 2022. A guy who sells insurance falls in love with a sexy woman, and they murder her husband for the money.
I don't know if kids today know what insurance is. But that's easy to change. Tell us the story.
So you start at the end with the insurance guy dying, and he tells the story into his iPhone recorder. We flash back to get the whole tale, then we go back to him, and he dies.
Hey, if you're gonna start with a flashback, it needs to be the insurance guy's backstory. What happened to him as a kid that made him want to sell insurance? What thing did he fail at that he can now overcome? The audience needs the backstory, and we need some action right up front. Then you can pay off the backstory at the end.
Oh, yes! Love that. Great idea.
So, he meets a sexy woman by page 10?
Page 10 exactly.
Perfect.
Okay, so the insurance guy's boss and our guy are super close, always joking.
Okay, maybe a little gay thing going on, but we don't push it. Except maybe they kiss. Once.
Right, it's there, but we don't push it, except for maybe a kiss. But our guy has to be extra careful to fool his boss, so he has to be super careful about everything, all the planning and stuff, once he and the sexy woman decide to go through with it.
End of the first act. Maybe we can have a pop song there that tells us how the characters are feeling.
Love that. Great idea. So then Act 2, they plan to do the murder.
Is that after the sex scene? Because we need a really hot sex scene in a shower.
Right, forget the gay thing. Maybe it's like, Euphoria.
Perfect, as long as we set it up in the backstory.
Absolutely. Backstory, hot shower, Euphoria. Got it. Now the third act is them imploding and the boss figuring everything out. Then we're back in the office, the boss walks in, and our guy dies in his arms.
In his arms? Wait, so the gay thing's back in?
Wait a minute, we don't want a downer ending here. Audiences don't like it. I mean, we can shoot it, but we'll shoot 3 alternate endings, too. But what we really need is a twist. A twist out of nowhere that no one can see coming. Do we have a twist that no one can see coming?
We can. We can absolutely have a twist.
Yeah, but make sure no one can see it coming. Right, Philip?
Right, a twist. Maybe on page 82. Maybe the twist is, get this, maybe the twist is the boss is also having an affair with the sexy woman, and it's really their plan all along. And our insurance guy is the dupe all along, but he finds out, kills both of them, collects the money from their deaths, and the next thing we see is him sitting on a beach in Brazil. So, not double indemnity, triple indemnity.
Yes, the rule of 3.
But just different enough that we don't have to pay the remake rights.
We love it. It's perfect. Okay, so we were thinking maybe Bradley Cooper or Matt Damon as the insurance guy, George Clooney as the boss, Jennifer Lawrence as a sexy woman, maybe Adam McKay directing.
What is this? Double indemnity's so white? We need some color, diversity. We need blacks, browns, Asian Americans, Native Americans. Oh, Denzel Washington. And Zendaya would be great.
Love that.
It's all good. The only thing is, we're not really looking for a script like this. We need action and explosions and car chases and superheroes and maybe a young teen girl for the tweens.
Yeah, love that. We'll just change the plot and then we'll add all that stuff in.
That's great.
Okay.
I love what you've come up with so far. Unfortunately, our development budget is depleted for this year, so we can't pay you to write. But if you feel like, oh, I don't know, shoveling out a few dozen pages, we'd be glad to read it. Our door's always open for you.
Yes!
In Burbank, California, circa 1965, the monarch of a magical kingdom kept beautiful dreams alive. In a cynical, skeptical world, his banner was ever unfurled. At the corner of Dopey Drive and Mickey Avenue, there's a whimsy works where fairy tales and happy dreams come true. Inconceivables, impossibles were possible to do at the whimsy works on Dopey Drive and Mickey Avenue. The man who ran the whimsy works was an extraordinary guy. Magic in his eye, he'd make you think that you would fly. He'd wink his eye and you were in the sky. Go to magic, go. He does live on in all the dreams he grew at the whimsy works on Dopey Drive and Mickey Avenue. The man who ran the whimsy works, he made you want to reach so high, to seek above the sky. You did your all, you always would, achieving what you thought you never could. Oh, he's gone away, he lives today in dreams they still pursue at the whimsy works on Dopey Drive and Mickey Avenue. The king of that magical kingdom had many magical schemes, and everyone called him crazy to risk his all on his dreams. Now animated features abound, and Disneylands thrive the world round.
in the 1950s and 1960s, there was an incredibly popular television program on local Channel 5.
Oh, you mean the CW?
No. Back then, there were only 7 channels.
7 channels? How did people live back then? 7 kill myself. I mean, it's just so primitive.
It was primitive, and yet everybody tuned in and nobody missed it. It was broadcast live from downtown Los Angeles. And during the commercial breaks, they would flash the phone number across the screen so that anybody who wanted to go down there and see it live could. And those who were around then still know that phone number by heart.
They do? Well, what was it?
Richmond 95171. That's the number of the Olympic Auditorium. If you're looking for drills and skills, they're gonna give you some body slamming, eyeball jamming. Richmond 95171. Call right now, reserve your seats. It's gonna be a blast. If you're loving the lumps and bumps, you're an enthusiast. Struggle bashing, your arm smashing it. Wrestling, seeing pretty classy. If you're weak, will stay home and watch Lottie. Wrestling, okay, so it's not classy.
When they're pulling hair and things are getting thrown right where you're sitting.
They always put on a good show and a good fight. Every Wednesday Hey, Snack Calhoun, he weighs 400 pounds. Don't get in his way. Gorgeous choice to make his glowing monologues. Tricky, ranking star in his ballet and drop kicks. And Mr. Motor will turn those up and not destroy your own and stop. Although Brazil and their favorite champ, the title is theirs. Now Billy Morgan, is he down for the count? Killer Kowalski, well, no one wants to fight him. And if the bruiser he doesn't wrestling bodies, then he might scoop your chest and you get what he's like. Or you're terrified. Every Wednesday
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dick Lane coming to you live from the Olympic Auditorium in beautiful downtown Los Angeles. Have we got a match for you tonight? Everybody's favorite Tricky Ricky star going up against one of the meanest and toughest hombres in wrestling history, Mr. Moto, who's here with me now.
ちょっとお前これ違う海になるからなんだよ分かったかこの野郎絶対そういうとこに泳げてるからクソ野郎分かったかほら
Me. All right. You know, Mr. Moto, Ricky might turn the tables on you.
王者は俺なんだよ分かったかこの野郎土下座しろって言ったら王者の間はこのクソ野郎が何やってんだこれクソ野郎ほら
I gotta tell you, ladies and gentlemen, with these two, anything can happen, and will. So, oh, Debbie, hold on to your chairs, because things are gonna get wild and woolly in that ring tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, next event, 1 fall, 20-minute time limit. From far away Japan, weighing 235, Mr. Moto! His opponent from Dodge City, Kansas, the wrestling sensation, weighing 190, Tricky Ricky Star!
Here we go. You don't need a fortune cookie to see how this is going to turn out, do you? Ricky's a little shy there. Oh, that's hands, Ricky. You want to touch that?
Ready?
It's muscle against all right, you can right? Yes. Yes, Ricky.
always felt I was born too late, that this is not my time, that this is not my place. I hate the music, hate the clothes they wear. They just can't compare to the way it was in my favorite era. Don't you think it's sad when they clear away everything that's great? But what if I could find a time machine and go back in time to the time that was prime, to the wonderful time where at the disco, I want disco, I want dancing and romancing at the disco, where the colored lights are turning, the fever's always burning on Saturday night. Baby, everything's right at the disco, give me disco, where the right suits are the right suits at the disco, where the beat is always bumping, the joint is always jumping, the air is alive. Come on, baby, let's drive down the disco highway, hearing disco music on the radio. You know you can't stop the music at the YMCA. It's the disco inferno, so shake your booty today. With my hair so big it looks like a high, got the night fever, baby, and I will survive. At the disco, I love disco. I'm arriving and I'm thriving at the disco, where the macho men keep moving, the DJs keep on grooving, the deep disco love. That's what I'm breathing up. Bring that disco. Like a Volta, John Travolta at the disco. Where you love to do the hustle, get mad girls by your muscle and dance all night long. Baby, what could go wrong? I want disco. Give me disco. I love disco. Bring back disco. Take a last dance with me at the disco. It's where I'm gonna be.
I would take the 405 to the 101 to the 10 for you. Break the 215 to the 58 to Blythe. I'd go from Woodland Hills to Hollywood on the Friday before Christmas. Drive to Venice Beach on the 4th of July. I would cruise to LAX at 6 p.m. just to be with you. Slide from Arrowhead to Tehachapi in snow. From Inglewood to Oxnard and all the way to Azusa. Just because I love you so. From the emerald fields of Forest Lawn with Griffith Park above to the shining tar of La Brega's pits. This city reeks with love. I'd go to Disneyland in August if you asked me to. 'Cause Anaheim is such a lovely drive. I would cruise cross town from Sunset to Marina Del Rey every afternoon between 3 and 5. We could watch the sun go down through the LA haze. There's no way I could lose you now. 'Cause baby, I got ways of New Year's Eve at Pico and
on an off day.
I'm calling the DWP! Siri, call the DWP.
Calling Debbie P.
Once upon a time there were movie theaters. Everywhere you go they were easy to find. Every neighborhood had a movie theater. Sometimes 3 or 4, sometimes even more. Some were huge, some were small, some were barely there at all. But there was music, there were curtains, there were shorts, cartoons, and newsreels. And a double feature. You can stay and see them over if you really wanted to. Yes, that's really true. Once upon a time. Mostly what we've got now are multiplexes. Many, many screens, one location for all. Movie going now is a different ballgame. Showmanship is dead. What we get instead, we get one screen fits all. Whether large or whether small, but no more music, no more curtains. We get endless advertisements and no double feature. People sit there kinda watching when they're kinda texting too. That's just what they do. But now once upon a time, once upon a time, there were movie palaces, thousands of seats with lobbies like the Taj Mahal. Yes, once upon a time, they were grand and glorious, with golden stairs that led up to a balcony. And you go there with lounges and bathrooms, so if you could get lost in them, everything was first class deluxe, and there were ushers in uniforms, made you feel like $1 million bucks. And not now. Once upon a time is a long time gone now. It's just not the same. All that magic is gone. Palaces of dreams were reduced to rubble. All that history lost, and at such a cost. But some buildings remain. What exactly did we gain? We gained some churches and some rock clubs. We gained parking lots and strip malls and the multiplexes. They're not even showing film. It's mostly digital today. Film became passe, and it's just a crime. And we always took for granted that our theaters would just last. Now that's in the past. Once upon a time.
Ever hopeful, they come. The dreamers in search of Hollywood glory, then and now. A few find it, most don't. One lost angel still haunts the city's dark and mysterious nights. She came to Los Angeles in 1947 to find her fame. And in a way, she did. Her name was Elizabeth Short, but you probably don't know her by that name. You might know her better as the Black Dahlia.
I came to Los Angeles, a girl with a dream of setting the city on fire. Bought me some dresses, a velvet and lace, Max Factor makeup to do up my face. In LA, all money's the show. Gotta look like you got lots of dough.
friends with easy meet chicks. In LA, you hang out with your cliques. I walk down the boulevard on weekend nights, staring hard at each dazzling marquee. I squinted my eyes at all of the beautiful lights and imagined those names were all me. I saw Lana Turner with her gangster crowd. Yes, small town me would see her. From that moment on, I obsessed out loud. All I want in life is to be her, to be her. A party in Hollywood, just more of the same. I left before getting much higher. Snuck out the back door to get some fresh air. The night was aglow, there were stars everywhere. I walked home alone in the dark. How did I end up in Limmer Park? Next day the news said my body was found. The whole situation was dire. An innocent woman so brutally killed. Her body was severed. Her blood was spilled. The killer, he never was found. The truth lies with me underground. Take care how you play in the Hollywood game. The Black Dahlia finally found her
Yo, dude, show a little respect, please.
You have to earn respect, we don't just hand it out.
Exactly right. And in light of the fact that I just signed the world's #1 social media influencer to star in the Metaversal comic book streaming franchise, you owe me respect.
What? You signed Mozzie Pie? She's got some heat right now. Kudos to you and the Insta Queen.
Hashtag damn right. Girl's got the highest click-through to engagement ratio ever measured.
Well, not to flex or anything, but that's almost as impressive as the fact that I just signed Janky the Gardener for all media. Boom.
What? Janky the NFT?
Tokens do not get any less fungible, my friend.
And they said it couldn't be done. Well then, respect where it's due. My hat's off to anybody who sells the book rights for a non-fungible token. Damn, I'm impressed.
I accept. So, your Mozzie Pie deal, is that the radioactive possum superhero flick?
Whoa. It's not just a movie, dude. They're gonna drop a full season prequel on Hulu at the same time as the video game, the clothing line, and the fragrance.
She's a rainmaker.
Oh, I'm telling you, she's a disruptive content machine. Social, digital, the whole package. Girl's never even been ratioed on TikTok.
She's dropping your stuff on reels too, am I right?
What do you think? This girl does not miss an opportunity to cross-post her content. Of course we're pulling the 15-second clips out of her IGTV feed for the short formats.
You see the shelf life issue on stories as a plus or a minus?
My gut says it's worth the cross-drop time since research indicates the doodles and sticker overlay helps with easy discoverability through channels, especially with the key demos. Plus, it's all in a vertical format that sits upright, so...
I've been telling people for months, short-form vertical video is here to stay.
Yeah. Plus, she's got like a 200% year-over-year growth of organic video pins, so...
So, the coin is raining down. That's some serious lifestyle brand curation.
Yeah, she's totally crushing it. With our guidance, of course.
Oh, I hear TikTok is testing out TikTok shopping now that they've expanded their partnership with Shopify.
Oh, you heard right. And my girl is going to slay it with her new limited edition tequila. There's a worm in every bottle, and Mozzie Pie kissed each and every one of them. Her followers already bought the entire run.
Damn. What's the trend forecasting team say?
Oh, she's off the charts. They've never seen anybody integrate product catalog into social profiles the way she does.
You gotta leverage that shit, bro. It's a major growth hack. Optimize those platforms, am I right? Optimize or die. You tell the boss?
I book a commission like that, you bet I did.
What'd he say?
Not a lot. Didn't seem to know what questions to ask. I tried to tell him about the NFT play into the crypto space and the IP implications, but I might as well have been explaining particle physics to a cow.
Yeah, probably like trying to convince a studio exec in 1920 that talkies are the next big thing.
Change is inevitable. Understanding is optional. It used to be as easy as getting the right star attached to the right script with the right director. Now, it's all about the blockchain. I don't know why they can't see it.
It's a mystery. But then, that's why we're on the way up and he's on the way out. So anyway, small point, but can Mozzie Pie act?
Are you kidding? Check it out. Yale Drum, spent a year at Steppenwolf, another at the Globe, workshopped with Pacino, Hackman, and Streep at the same time, worked off Broadway for 5 years.
Damn impressive.
Yeah, but fat lot of difference that makes. She's gonna be dressed up in a radioactive possum costume, doing shit in front of a green screen, filled with laser beams, explosions, and impossible car stunts. And the thing's gonna premiere on Twitter in 3-minute segments, so most of the people who are gonna see it will be doing so on their phones, probably while driving.
You saying they might miss some of the subtleties of her performance?
The possibility exists.
Oh, did you at least get her some solid back-end points to make up for all the shameful whoring and waste of her talents?
Of course I did. I mean, it's not called show art, is it? It's called show business.
It's time for a shindig with the Hullabaloo dancers. They put together a number of all your favorite dances from this amazing decade, the 1960s. Here they are, the swinging, rockin' Hullabaloo dancers!
in every possible way, and we hope we've done so with affection.
But for now, let's have a slight change of direction. That might be right up your alley. Let's go over the hill for a fabulous thrill to the San Fernando Valley. But the valley's so wide, couldn't cover it all if we tried. So let's cut to the chase and just talk about our favorite place. New York has Soho, but we're here in NoHo, the happiest place in the world. Just look at those mixed-use apartments galore. Every time you turn around, there's 37 more. And we've got a subway right here at our door. We've got restaurants and shops. Some are hits, some are flops. NoHo's quite arty and not quite a party, but still you just go with the flow. And NoHo has theater. It's really unique. Hamlet set in Poland where the actors all speak Greek. Medea the musical opens next week. It's so much of a schlep to the road or rep. NoHo's a fabulous high. You mean that Republic of Pie? NoHo delivers wine for your whim, whether lunch at the Federal or wine at the gym. And if you are feeling quite grim and you need some escape, you can make right on Lancashire. NoHo is cheerful, but you've had an earful of all the things that we adore. Yes, NoHo's eclectic, it gets great reviews. There's Riverside, Magnolia, and Tahunga you can cruise. And Skinny's has hip-hop and DJs and blues. Yes, the three-legged ride, whether upscale or dive, NoHo's the place you should go. But before we digress, we'll simply confess you should just say yes to
It's Christmas. It's Christmas. It's Christmas in LA. I love Christmas in Los Angeles. The nearest snow is 60 miles away from here, and roasting chestnuts don't perfume the atmosphere. But I love Christmas in LA. Each sunny Christmas in Los Angeles, Olvera Street, MacArthur Park, the Palisades get dressed up in their Merry Christmas masquerades, but no one's ringing sleigh bells from a sleigh. Old Jack Frost
artificial holly and mistletoe. But every year when Christmas comes around, it's warm, it's wonderful in Angel Town. Blue skies smile upon Los Angeles, and soft December breezes make her palm trees sway the way they did in Bethlehem that blessed day. That's why I love Christmas in Los Angeles. Warm and wonderful Christmas in
What's so good about the good old days? What do you recall that is worth reprising? What's so good about the good old days? Things are so much better today. Why do you stare with a wistful gaze? Why do you want to keep apologizing? What's so good about the good old days? Things are so much better today. Remember hula hoops we were spinning all summer, or yo-yos? I was the neighborhood whiz.
Nowadays, kids are texting on their iPhones.
They don't know what a yo-yo is.
Everybody's talking about a verse named Meta. Is gaming alone a blessing or curse? I feel left out. It's a joke I don't get. So what the hell's a metaverse?
Ask Zuckerberg.
I can't. I'm in Facebook jail for 30 days. Oh, what's so good about the good old days? Now we have Twitter and it's agonizing. What can you name from the good old days that isn't so much better today? Remember meeting friends for a breakfast at TikTok, an LA tradition for all of its fans.
Now it's gone. There's a new kind of TikTok.
For kids with short attention spans.
But listen, change is normal and nothing stays.
The door to the past is shut.
So what's so good about the good old days? Everything. That's
I absolutely adored Los Angeles. Well, actually, truth be told, most people in England were fascinated by all things LA, the film capital of the world. Muscle men, beaches, mountains, days on end of golden sunshine, and everywhere you looked, sparkling pools and teeth. I'd had some higgledy-piggledy success as an actor in London. I was a member of the Royal Shakespeare Company for a time, but it was all so bleak. I was determined to bask in the California sun and shack up with a blonde surfer. So in 1964, there was a British invasion in America, and I rode in on that wave. I managed to procure some work in various films, but mostly as a dialogue coach, helping hopelessly handsome contract players from Kenosha to speak with a semblance of a British accent. In 1967, New Year's Eve, several plainclothes policemen infiltrated one of my favorite night spots, the Black Cat Tavern. Yes, they arrested several patrons, all friends of mine, for kissing to celebrate New Year's Eve. Can you imagine? Officers actually beat several patrons who had the audacity to protest. In all, over a dozen people were arrested, including 3 bartenders, for allowing it to happen. This was 2 years before the Stonewall riots in New York. This created a civil demonstration in which I did participate, and over 200 of us were met by squadrons, battalions of armed police officers from LAPD, which had an 80-year reputation as the nation's most homophobic police force. And that's the way it was back then, I'm afraid.
Secret meetings, stolen glances, hidden meanings, sending signals, taking chances, being careful, that's the way, being stealthy, being furtive, being gay.
My favorite place to shop for companionship was a greasy spoon on Hollywood and Las Palmas called the Gold Cup. Now, most people knew that if you sat down and ate there, as opposed to picking up takeout, that you were amenable to a boy meets boy rendezvous. Now, eventually, I tried everything on their menu, and I'm not referring to the foodstuffs. One day there was this beautiful young man. He was gorgeous. Blonde hair, cut in that surfer boy bowl cut. Piercing blue eyes that seemed to see right through me. No tan yet, but here was my shackmate come true. He kept staring at me, so I finally went over to his table. Now, although he was relatively fresh off the bus from a landlocked, corn-fed state, he was still a beach boy at heart. Michael was skilled in many things. Now, among them, interestingly enough, carpentry. So, in between rare acting jobs, he would carpent. I had recently bought a bungalow in West Hollywood. It was 2 stories. The upper floor was a separate apartment. I said I needed a tenant to make ends meet, and I wondered if he might be interested. He was, sorta, but he didn't want me to get the wrong impression. Too late. He said, "You're too old for me." Whack! In went the arrow. He continued his assault. "You're old enough to be my father." Thwack! Thwack! 2 more arrows. I then informed him that I was only 14 years his senior. "Really?" he quipped. "That's all?" Ooh, the cannonball! Seeing that I was emotionally obliterated by his verbal, insensitive attack, he smiled and said, "Maybe the English accent makes you seem older." I quipped my standard rebut. "I am not English." Was terribly affected. And with him standing there, dumbfounded and adorable, I kissed him so hard, we fell into tomorrow. I then cunningly suggested that he cut a hole in between our 2 floors and challenged him to design and construct a magnificent staircase between the 2. Puzzled, he countered, "There's already a perfectly good exterior staircase. Why do we need one inside?" Shifting from practical to romantic, I intimated, "Well, in case we need a cup of sugar in the middle of the night." he didn't get it. Then he did. He paused. And then he said the most majestic, heartfelt, earthquaking word. Okay. And that was the closest thing to a proposal that would ever fly with Michael. And his okay was the closest thing to an I do that I would ever hear from him. I started a theater in a converted church there in West Hollywood. Church, theater, it's all the same, wouldn't you say? We were all the rage. I acted, he directed, and we did daring new plays with biting social commentary by wonderful new playwrights. Many of our plays explored this notion that being gay might actually be okay. Michael and I joined the Metropolitan Community Church. We gleefully participated in the first Gay Liberation Day parade in West Hollywood. Slowly, things were changing.
Stop the hatred, stop the hiding, no pretending, no illusions, no confiding, make a city, that's the way, being out and being happy, being gay.
December 1984. It was unseasonably cold for LA. Michael had never been a big believer in sending Christmas cards. It was so much effort and for such a brief, enigmatic greeting. So instead of mailing, he began dialing, phoning friends to catch up. It was wonderful. It took 4 weeks, actually, but eventually he reconnected with loads of people. And that seemed oddly important to him. February 1985. Michael didn't want anyone to see him when he was sick. So, he wanted them to remember him as vibrant and healthy and glowing. So he spent his last 3 months planning a memorial to beat all memorials. There is God in the details, he'd say. So he micromanaged every single thing. The menu, the musicians, a string quartet with harpist, the songs, and a guest book with 132 different colored pens. So everyone could say hello in their own color and keep the pen. Then, at exactly 3 p.m., when the sun was at its lazy, hazy goldenest, each person would let fly a white, helium-filled balloon with a white satin ribbon, and we would collectively, effectively, release him. I'm married now. It's hard to imagine ever being able to marry a man in something other than a dream. We live in that same West Hollywood bungalow with Michael's staircase. The Gay Liberation Day parades are now just simply, positively gay pride parades. Oh, how I would have loved to have been married to Michael. My soft-spoken, sexy surfer. Well, I guess in a way,
were.
And lovers lost along the way, for all the tears we've shed, let every day become a day. Look ahead. We look ahead. Now's the moment. Ours to take now. Standing tall and proud and equal, wide awake.
getting stormy and gray. Penn State to Hanson and Altamont and more. Good times are slipping away. Boys getting drafted, they're training and they're drilling. Then they're shipped off to war. And with all the blood and spilling, with the bombing and the killing, and you wonder just how much more. You wonder what it's all for. Just let them come home. Let them come home. The scene was never really the same after that. People still hung out on the strip. The energy and the fun and yeah, the innocence is gone forever. Sunset Strip these days not the same. Not the music, not the scene, it's plain. And I'm in my 60s and Jodie's gone. She died in 2010. Now in my 60s, I'm loving the 60s again. Remembering when we were going to the whiskey, go and take his eye.